It looks like USC found their strongman. Lincoln Riley, he's adding Coach Carroll to the coaching staff.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thanks for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network, your team every day, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, you know you can download this podcast on any platform. It's always going to be free. I'm always going to appreciate your support. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. USC found their new strength and conditioning coordinator. And I'll tell you what, unless you follow that type of stuff, that industry stuff, strength guys, I doubt that there are going to be too many USC fans who knew the name Truman Carroll before he was announced as USC's new strength and conditioning coordinator. Just to remind everybody, kind of preface the story, spring camp ended for USC April 26th. A few days later, Coach Riley announced that the football program is parting ways with Director of Football Sports Performance, Benny Wiley. And just, kind of remind everybody, he was one of those guys. He was one of the three guys who slipped out of Norman, got on the airplane with Coach Riley when no one was looking. Benny Wiley was with Coach Lincoln Riley since 2018 at Oklahoma, coming to USC, ever since he became a head coach. There's been speculation as to why, after spring camp, Coach Riley made this move. I kind of speculate, and it leads me to believe that once Chad Bowden was brought in as USC's general manager, and he had a chance to kind of evaluate the strength and conditioning program during spring camp, during the winter off-season workouts, I think Coach Riley and Chad felt that, maybe it's just time for a change. Whatever it needs just to take us that next step to get us to a championship, to win a championship. So after he was let go, Coach Riley made the following statement. Quote, "We are grateful for the many contributions Coach Wiley has made to our program throughout the last 3 seasons. He has been an outstanding role model to our young men. This is a difficult decision, but we are committed to positioning our football program to compete for national championships as we continue to move forward into 2025 and beyond," end quote. Look, it doesn't matter what the reasons were. The coaching staff, Lincoln Riley, Chad Bowden, they felt this was the right time to make a change. Last week, USC made overtures to the Indiana Hoosiers strength and conditioning coordinator. His name got floated to be Wiley's replacement. He ended up getting a hefty pay raise to stay in Bloomington, Indiana. Look, you'd have to pay me a hell of a lot of money to live out there too. But you know what? Fight on, Michael Pittman. You're an Indianapolis Colt. But as I was mentioning the other day, and I mentioned this kind of in passing on Locked On USC, I said it's going to be happening this week. Wink, wink. USC was going to, name their strength and conditioning coordinator. Well, they found their guy. He is the new USC Director of Football Sports Performance. His name is Coach Truman Carroll. And Coach Riley said this in his statement. Coach Carroll is an accomplished strength and conditioning professional who has consistently trained his teams to compete at the highest level. His ability to develop players with an emphasis on strong team culture has been evident throughout his career. He will have a tremendous impact on our program. We're excited to welcome Truman and his family to USC. Coach Carroll likes his players to call him Coach True, short for Truman. A little bit of a background on who he is. He played defensive end, played on the defensive line for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. He was with that program from 2001 through 2005. And then he eventually found himself serving as an assistant strength and conditioning coach for that program twice. Did it 2 times. His first term was 2006 through 2008. Then he moved on to become the director of strength and conditioning at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. He did that for 3 years from 2008 to 2011. After that, Coach Carroll was the head strength and conditioning coach at South Carolina State. Did that for a couple of years. And then he returned back to Oklahoma State for his second stint, 2013 and 2014. Obviously, this is a job title where you're going to move around a lot within the industry. Coach Carroll, after he was at Oklahoma State, he then went on to SMU, Arkansas, South Florida, and he's been spending the last 4 years at Kansas State in Manhattan during his time at Kansas State. This is significant. The Wildcats have had 10 players selected in the draft over the past 3 NFL drafts. And that's actually the most Kansas State has produced in a 3-year period. You got to go back to 2002 through 2004. That was during the heyday of Bill Snyder when he had that program humming. I know well because I watched Kansas State beat USC twice. And that 2002 season was one of those years. That was back in Manhattan, Kansas when that happened. If you want to know if this is a good hire, always check with the former team, people who are associated with that team. For instance, according to Kellis Robinette, he's a local beat writer who covers Kansas State for the Wichita Eagle, Kansas City Star. This is what he had to say. Truman Carroll is leaving Kansas State to take over as strength and conditioning coach at USC. This is a significant loss for Kansas State. The Wildcats won a lot of games with him in Manhattan. He will be a significant loss for a roster filled with players who continually rave about their experiences in the weight room. The strength and conditioning coach is one of the most important guys you can have on your staff. Doesn't matter what program you're at. This is the guy who, like they said, what Coach Riley said, it's about culture. You want to make sure everybody's buying in, everyone's heading in the right direction, reading from the same page. So yeah, this is someone that, they put a lot of time, a lot of thought into, make sure they found the right guy. It seems like they had a pretty short list. They only took a week to figure this out. So again, it looks like the USC coaching staff, it's complete now. Coach True's job is to pick up where Benny Wiley left off, where he left the program, kind of pick it up from there, take it, make it better. And look, never hurts having a Coach Carroll on the staff, right? I watched a video of Coach Truman Carroll, introducing himself to the Kansas State team when he was hired the second time. Well, not the second time, when he was hired by Kansas State. And he said it's all about respect and trust. Respect is given automatically. And then he said he wants to earn the players' trust over time. I anticipate he's going to have the same approach at USC. He's going to respect the players in front of him, and all he asks for is respect in return by, being part of the program. And then he will earn your trust by showing you the right way of doing things. I know the job that Benny did over the last 2 off seasons at USC. Ever since, Alex Grinch was released as the defensive coordinator, when Dan Lynn came in, the whole thing was get bigger, get stronger, look like a Big Ten conference team. Benny did that job. So right now it's time just to take it to the next level. And that's where Coach Carroll steps in. So yeah, a little bit of a little headliner there. USC's adding Coach Carroll to the coaching staff. We know Pete Carroll is going to be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. So never hurts. Again, never hurts to have a Coach Carroll on your staff. We'll see how it turns out. He takes over. He's going to get those guys ready, get them on the program, lead them into the player run practices, which he will play a significant role at as well. And then make sure these guys are ready to rock and roll come fall camp. On the back end, what you're looking for is, can you maybe possibly improve any of the USC draft eligible players to perform better, whether it's at USC Pro Day or at the Combine, whatever the case may be. USC's Director of Sports Performance has a significant role within the program. It's not for amateurs. So the fact that, Coach Truman Carroll has the respect of his former teammates, his former players that he's developed, all the feedback seems to be positive. So let's see if he can carry that over now at USC. And wherever Benny Wiley, whatever the next chapter in his life is, like I said, I don't know of any negativity with him in the program. So we just wish him some good luck. Fight on. And we welcome Coach Truman Carroll to USC. It seems like the coaching staff is complete now. I can't imagine they're going to be adding anybody else, but you never know. We'll see. All right, we've got a couple more segments to go. This next segment, it might sound like a little bit like a Friday rant, but there's just a lot of ignorance rolling around right now, and we got to talk about it. Two people said USC, the job itself, not top 10. Really? There is nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena. And with Game Time, you too can be a part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. If you're a Laker Clipper fan, you don't have to worry about it. They're already eliminated. But for those of you who want to travel and get to some other games, check this out. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when the demand is sky high. Here's why you're going to love using Game Time. Priority last-minute deals. Did you know you can save up to 60% when you buy last minute? Yeah, doesn't matter if you're going to an NBA playoff game, a concert, comedy show, going to the theater, whatever. If you procrastinate, you actually can save up to 60%. And because of the all-in pricing, you're not going to find any surprises when you go to checkout. What you see is what you pay. So that means peace of mind. With seat views before you buy, there's no surprise fees. You get the lowest price guarantee, so you can book with total confidence. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I have no idea what strain those guys over there on On3 are smoking, but it has to be some serious stuff. I mean, stuff that just makes you hallucinate. Live in a world of la la land. There are certain lists where objective criteria can be used to make a case for a top 10 list. If you're not sure between the definition of objective and subjective, hit pause, go look it up. All right, you done? You're back? Great. I'm not talking about subjective top 25 team polls that are filled with a whole bunch of different opinions on what should and shouldn't be considered within that poll. And again, I'm not talking about the best high school prospect in the country type of stuff as far as stars are concerned. However, what I am talking about, when it comes to the top 10 jobs in college football, okay, USC is always going to be a part of that conversation. Always. I don't care how poorly the team is performing on the field. The results on the field really have nothing to do with whether or not USC's head coaching job is considered one of the 10 best in college football. If we use these 4 data points as the criteria, not only is USC a top 10 job, it is a top 5 job. Period. End of story. So you've got Ari Wasserman, Andy Staples, part of the On3 network, national beat writer, no, not beat, but national college football writers. They submitted their top 10 college football jobs list. All I can say is it's wild, just freaking wild. One of them has Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, LSU as their top 5. Notre Dame, Alabama, Michigan, Clemson, Penn State as they're rounding out the top 10. The other one, Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, number 4, Texas A&M at 5, LSU, Alabama, Michigan, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, 10. I said four data points. I'm using their own criteria for what constitutes a top 10 job. Okay, these aren't my data points. These are the 4 that they agreed upon. Number 1, total support from the school in terms of resources, alignment between the athletic department and the president's office. USC checks that box. President Carol Folt, athletic director Jen Cohen, so far during their time together, they've been on the same page. And I mean, Jen, she's elevated the program since she's arrived. You know, you can look at it from a staffing point of view. Obviously, money hasn't been an issue, especially with retaining Antonlynn, hiring a general manager, $1 million for Chad Bowden, going out finding Rob Ryan. Those weren't cheap hires. Excuse me. Their second data point, a passionate and preferably wealthy fan donor base. Yeah, I think USC checks this box too, right? So far, 1 and 2, USC fills that criteria. The third one, a history of success plus a repeatable model of recent success. Yeah. So 11 national championships, 8 Heisman winners, Rose Bowl trophies everywhere. And trust me, I get the last 2 years, the on the field results, but 11 wins and they were on the precipice of making the playoffs with a Heisman winner. That was pretty recent, right? So that's box number 3 checked off. Here's the fourth one. And this one, again, how USC is not on this list boggles the mind. Proximity to excellent recruits. Hello, McFly. That was me knocking on my own head because they're not in front of me. Yeah, enough said. I mean, the fact that USC is not on this list, it's criminal. I would love to question these guys to their face. Not in anger, but just to challenge their rationale because it makes no sense. Texas A&M, Oklahoma over USC. Both of those guys, Ari and Andy Staples, they had Oregon over Alabama for crying out loud. Puff, puff, pass, guys. Don't hog it. As I mentioned, we're using their own criteria. This list makes absolutely zero sense. USC's location, its wealth, its donor. There is money at USC, a lot. The tradition of winning for nearly 100 years. The recruits in their own backyard. Let's just expand. California. You want to make Arizona, Las Vegas, Utah, East LA? Fine, I'm on board. How in the hell did Clemson make this list? I'll be honest with you right now. If I was their boss, I'd be making them offer a public apology. Yeah. It's a crazy. Tell me how USC is not considered one of the top 10 jobs in the country. Put your hate, put your bias aside. Tell me Oregon would not switch places with USC as far as location is concerned in a heartbeat. Everybody would. I get it. It's the off season. You're trying to get eyeballs to come to you. You don't have to say stupid stuff. You don't have to sound ignorant to have people read your stuff. Really, you don't. Trust me. I'm in the industry. I get it. I write over there at USC all the time. A lot of times I'll write stuff just to get a reaction, but I'm going to keep it in the realm of reality, some plausibility. Again, I don't care what conversation you want to use, what data points you want to come up with, as long as they're objective. There is no way you keep USC out of one of the best jobs in the country. To a lesser extent, you can even say UCLA. If they ever pulled their head out of their butt and made football a priority, Yeah. We're talking about the LA market. All right. Enough of that. Enough of the hump day rant. We'll call it that. Well, I know you guys are watching this on Thursday. I'm recording it the day before. One more segment to go. Talk about which games are USC's trap games in 2025. Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Well, it is. You can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices, and no consoles required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. You can dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports, College Football 25, to Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite TV shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. And you can also get endless entertainment with 4K streaming. Watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services. So if you've got a subscription to Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, any of those, there's a whole bunch more than that. I mean, who doesn't have one of those apps already? And for you gamers, play high quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost of owning a console. If you already have a console, not a problem. A Fire TV Stick 4K device is more affordable, and it's easier to travel, which allows you to take you or your kids' games wherever you want to plug in. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. It's available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K second generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max first and second generation, and Fire TV Cube third generation. General Akbar from Return of the Jedi said it best. It's a trap. There is absolutely zero excuse. You cannot come up with an excuse. Well, I'll give you one. Everybody on the team came down with mono at the same time. That's it. Excuse me. That's your only excuse. There is absolutely zero reason why USC should not be 3-0 to open the season. Zero. None. Missouri State at home. Georgia Southern at home. You fly out to West Lafayette to take on Purdue in your first big conference game of the season. Okay? You're 3-0. You better be. After that, okay, you got your next games. At home against Michigan State, on the road at Illinois, bye week, at home to Michigan. So my question is this. Is Sparty, is that trap game number 1 on the schedule, Michigan State? Or is it game 5 a week later at Illinois? Let me set it up for you this way. Michigan State's head coach, Jonathan Smith, USC fans, you're probably familiar with him. Every 3 to 4 years, he has enough talent that he's assembled on his roster. They get just the right mix of talent, and his program kind of plays over their head. They overachieve. They are one of those, that's not going to be an easy game on the schedule team. He did it at Oregon State. He did it to USC. I know who he is. Very solid coach. Illinois is one of those preseason darlings right now. You check out those way too early preseason polls. Illinois shows up in all of them, top 20 team. They return a bunch of guys from last year's squad, including their starting quarterback. So which one of those 2 games would you choose as the trap game for USC? Again, I just want to remind everyone, USC has a bye before they host Michigan. I think Sparty is the trap game in LA. There's no way USC is going to be looking past a road game after what happened last year where they lost everyone on the road. So, yeah, I don't think they'll be looking past Illinois. Could they be looking past Michigan State, though? Is that a trap game? Let me know. Then the following week after USC beats Michigan State at the Coliseum. Michigan at the Coliseum. So Michigan State at home, Illinois on the road, come home, you face Michigan. That's at the Coliseum. Then you head to South Bend we talked about it on yesterday's episode of Locked on USC. This could be USC's last visit to South Bend for the foreseeable future. If you missed yesterday's episode, when you're done with this one, go watch it. I explain it in detail. So you're the back half of the season. You've got you're at Notre Dame, bye week. You go off on the road again to Nebraska. Then you come home for Northwestern, Iowa, at Oregon. You finish the year at home hosting UCLA. After the Notre Dame game, USC has its second bye week, right? It's before they head to Nebraska. Then they host Notre Dame and Iowa. Those are 2 games immediately after Nebraska. Is Iowa a trap game before you head up to Eugene? Or is Lincoln Riley maybe taking that game personally because of what Coach Ferentz said a couple of years ago? So I think Iowa's a trap game just because USC is going to have a really good record and they're going to be looking forward to laying that smack down on Oregon. Kind of just sending that final nail in that coffin. You don't run recruiting in California anymore. And you think you run the conference, but you don't because USC's back. I got Iowa and I got Michigan State as the 2 trap games. Ironically, home games. We'll see what happens. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Hit me up in the comments section if you're watching on YouTube. Let me know. You can find me on all the social media platforms on X. Find me on Instagram. Sometimes I'm hanging out on Facebook, rarely. But let me know. And if you have a good, solid point, I'll bring it up on the show. We'll talk about it. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. I'll have my Friday rant, the real rant. Figure out what that's going to be. I'm not quite sure yet. As well as all the news, notes, and information as it pertains to USC. So until then, everyone, yeah, it's been fun. But you know what to do. And don't forget, get on over there to wersc.com. Check it out.